Hey, so welcome to our Mechanical Engineering at Swansea University webinar. I'll start with some introductions. So my name's Adam and I'm manager in the college responsible for student recruitment and admissions. We're joined by Catherine. Hi, Catherine.
Hi.
Who's Internationalisation Officer within the college. One of our current students, Rhiannon, is here. Hey, Rhiannon.
Hi.
Do you want to tell us a bit about yourself?
So I'm a third year mechanical student. I'm also on the 4-year Eng course, so I'm not graduating until next year, so I can answer any questions about that.
Great. And we've got Dr. Mike Clee. So you can tell us a little bit about yourself, Mike.
Oh, hi, good afternoon all. I'm Mike. I'm the admissions tutor for mechanical engineering. I'm going to give you a presentation shortly and give a bit more insight into mechanical engineering at Swansea University. I hope that helps. And clearly, if you join us, you'll be taught by me as well, as Rhiannon has been previously. Okay.
Great. So the way it's going to work, as Mike says, he's shortly going to deliver a presentation overview of our programme. At any time during the presentation or afterwards, you can type in any questions that you've got for us. So on your screen, you will see the Q&A display button. Type your questions into that, and following Dr. Clee's presentation, the four of us between us will answer as many questions as we can, as much as we can then. All right, so over to you then, Mike.
Okay, thank you, Adam. I'll share screen now, 1 second. Okay, I hope you can all see the screen.
Yep.
You should be able to see my title on the screen and my role at Swansea University, along with a few other things. So I just bear in mind, I'm not used to giving talks over computers, so bear with me. I give many talks to people in audiences, but this is a bit strange to me as well as all you people. Okay, so I hope you enjoy it and I hope it's informative to you all. Okay. Right. My slides aren't moving. There we go. So, what is mechanical engineering? Well, I've put a very short phrase up there, which I hope you can probably all agree with. You may have your own ideas, but I think this is the heart of mechanical engineering as a whole, and what we base our courses on here at Swansea University. Okay. It is the broadest of engineering disciplines, i.e. that means it gives the greatest scope from a career perspective in engineering. So, you know, a lot of our students, as I'll talk about a bit more later, have moved into a wide range of disciplines when they've graduated with a degree in engineering from Swansea University. Yep. It deals with the diverse engineering problems, as it says there in the slide, and our main things are mechanics, materials, fluids, etc., etc. A lot of these subjects you've probably come across in your present studies, and obviously we'll elaborate on them as we move through the course. Yeah. Why would you want to do mechanical engineering at Swansea University? Okay. Well, I think we offer one of the best mechanical engineering courses in the UK. And the reason for that, some of which are already displayed up there, yeah, our programs are, and this applies to all engineering programs at Swansea, bear in mind, are seamless and offer an accelerated transition to graduate studies or employment. Yeah. We got our portfolio in Swansea, the mechanical engineering portfolio, has predominantly been the largest portfolio, which is a good thing in the perspective of we get more money, if you like, from the university to provide equipment, teaching resources, etc. Yeah. And the nice thing about our staff is we maintained a traditionally open door policy. So we're always available to students to come and have a chat to. Okay. And one thing I think is very important is the majority of our mechanical engineering teaching staff have spent a considerable amount of time in engineering employment themselves. So they have a really good understanding of what's required for mechanical engineers in these modern times. As I said, we're the largest teaching portfolio in the college, or predominantly we have been, and we deliver core engineering knowledge in a range of subjects. I listed a few there. These are some of the more complicated subjects within the program, which gives you a better understanding of the depth of knowledge that you will learn within the course. Okay. Ask yourself, is mechanical engineering at Swansea right for me? Okay. I think you need these 4 key skills to become a good mechanical engineer. And I'm sure you've all got some level of them already built into your kind of education and your skills, etc., that you've built up over the years you've been in school and college, etc. Yeah. And I'm sure you'll be better at some than others. But within the program, we'll ensure that we streamline you to have a level understanding of all the 4 key skills I've listed there. So if you think that these key skills apply to you, then you're making the right choices of coming to Swansea to do mechanical engineering. A little bit about the course. Clearly, most of you will be joining us next year, or next academic session, I should say. We run a 2-semester system within Swansea, which encompasses 3 terms. Don't worry too much about that at this stage. But this gives you a general understanding of the semesters for next year. So you'll start kind of at the end of September this year, and the first semester will run to the end of January next year, and that will include obviously the Christmas break and then exams associated with that semester, which you'll undertake in January. Yeah. After those exams are completed, you'll then restart semester 2 at the end of January again, as I say, and that runs then to the beginning of June through the Easter period, and again we will cover various subjects and exams during that time period. This gives you an indication of the kind of subjects that you will study. This is the first year modules. This information, I should say, excuse me, is readily available on our internet site. You can download these, it's all open source. Download this information for yourselves, and the handbooks which explain the detail of each individual module. Predominantly, we run a 10-credit module program. So most of our modules, or majority of our modules, are only 10 credits, okay? What that means is that obviously you can see by looking at the table, within a 1-year program, within the first year or the second, third year each, you'll cover 120 credits, yeah? Broken up into 12 individual subjects, okay? A 10-credit module represents what we call 100 hours of learning under the quality framework, or the higher education quality framework, right? That includes any lectures or any contact hours you have with lecturers, any lab classes, any coursework assessments, and any self-study, okay? So it's 100 hours of learning. And the reason I'm highlighting this is because this is quite an intensive course, as you will see in one of the forthcoming slides, that you will have a lot of contact hours, typically 30 to 33 hours per module, which leaves you 67 hours of self-study, yeah? When you join the university, you'll be meeting with other students in other disciplines. We'll be only doing, say, 1 hour a week lectures or coursework or labs, etc., per module. And you'll be thinking, why am I doing 30 hours a week and these guys are only doing 10 hours a week? And the reason for that is we make the course intensive because there's no doubt, been proven time and time again, you can look up the research yourselves, that contact hours is what makes students successful. Yeah. We're also sticking to 10 credits. There will be a 120 credit and 130 credit module as well, but we're sticking to 10 credit modules. A lot of our competitors are shifting to 15 and 20 credit modules throughout their programs. We're not planning on doing that, particularly in mechanical engineering. We feel that does not give you enough coverage of all the necessary subjects that you need to undertake to get a good degree in mechanical engineering. This is a typical time, well, this is actually this year's first semester timetable. As you can see, the contact hours are very intensive, okay? But as I just repeated myself, is that the more contact hours you have, the more successful you will be, okay? And then just jumping very quickly ahead, this is the second semester, i.e. the current semester, even though we're working in very strange times at the moment. This is the third year semester 2 timetable. As you can see, again, fairly intensive, a little bit more intensive than the first semester for the first years. But again, you can understand the reason why we're providing with so much detail. With their mechanical portfolio, we run what's called the Formula Student. I'm sure some of you might be aware of this. It's normally at this stage I would ask the question, who's interested in motor racing? Clearly, I can't do that at the moment, so I'm going to tell you about the Formula Student. The Formula Student is a program, or a competition I should say, run by the IMechE, which is our main accredited body for mechanical engineering. And the process and the competition is that students on a year-to-year basis design, build and race a racing car. Right? The competition runs every year in June, July, at Silverstone in the UK and many other locations around the world. Yeah? And we have students who have participated in Swansea from 2001, and we've been Hungary, Germany, lots of different places, and obviously in the UK. Okay? So if you're interested in motor racing at all, when you join the university, or if you join us, it'll be well worth you signing up for this program. It does involve a lot of extracurricular work, but some of the work also contributes towards your actual studies and your final award when you finish. Okay. On top of that, sorry, just to continue, it's very useful for your CV as well. We've had students who've definitely been placed in engineering work, predominantly because they've been involved in this form of student competition. Red Bull, for example, is one I can think of off the top of my head straight away. Another reason you might want to consider joining Swansea is we participate in the competition listed here by Texas A&M University. When you bear in mind, there's 22,000 universities worldwide that offer engineering courses or mechanical engineering courses, yeah? And only 30 can participate in this competition or qualify for this competition. And we've been involved in it for quite some time. So it's very prestigious, and we're very honoured that we are allowed to participate. I want to talk a little bit now about accreditation. Clearly, you've all been looking at other universities as well as Swansea. I just want to give you a little bit of advice. Ensure that the programs you're looking at are accredited, okay? Ask the question, the very important question, is this program accredited? You can see the certificate on the right-hand side of the slide there. We want you to graduate from Swansea with your name on that certificate, yeah? Accreditation is crucial as a first step, or an accredited degree program, I should say, in mechanical engineering, is the first step to become a chartered engineer, when you can make you really professional out in the workplace. Another reason why you might consider the Swansea is our commitment to learning and teaching. We've got what we call our Learning and Teaching Enhancement Centre, yeah? And as it says there on the slide, staff within this centre, myself being one, yeah, are responsible for identifying and driving strategic activities to enhance the learning and teaching provision, i.e. introducing the most modern teaching methods, productive and qualitative teaching methods into the scheme, yeah? One thing about Swansea now, we take our teaching, well, I say now, we always have done, excuse me, we take our teaching incredibly seriously, yeah? Every new member of lecturing staff now who joins university, and particularly the college, because we're very much the driving force in this, are obliged to take a professional teaching qualification. Not like the old days with old fogies like myself when we joined, but even us who joined from industry without a professional qualification have had to then strive to gain one, yeah? For example, myself, I'm a senior fellow of the Higher Education Academy, yeah? And that's, you know, that's quite an achievement without trying to blow in my own activities. But we all take it very, very seriously, and we ensure that we're all up to date with the latest teaching methods, and we're tested on it and expected to progress our own CPD to ensure that we keep up with it. Our student support is second to none, as Adam can answer any questions related to that as well. He's a big driver in this part. We have an academic mentoring program where all students have a mentor, which they see on a regular basis as formally, and they can also see them informally, okay? We have the student information team, which it says a specialist staff who deal with academic issues, attendance issues, any worries you may have regarding assessments, illness, welfare, money, etc. Okay, and obviously, you know, within the college, you become a big part of the college, and you may come across issues where you think to yourself, I've got something really concerning me, but I'm a little bit embarrassed to talk about it to my peers and colleagues within the college. So we've got My Uni Hub, which is the university-wide student support system, which provides all sorts of support in anything you can even think of, yeah? And even your mentor or your tutor is there to help as well. I mean, money issues, for example, I've written many supporting documents for students who've had money issues, and then the students the university has supported them in those issues, for example, yeah? So bear all these things in mind. Right, another reason why you might want to consider Swansea University of Mechanical Engineering is the employability, okay? This is the destination of leavers from higher education table. Well, this is information that's available to you online. This is the latest table I know it says 2017, but I haven't been able to find the latest one, but it doesn't change from year to year. That's for the last number of years.
This is the latest one, Mike.
What this shows is the average salary for graduates from mechanical engineering, okay, from Swansea, and our closest competitors. By our close competitors, I mean the students, the universities, where most of our students put as their second or first choice, and then we become their second choice. As you can see, within 6 months, this is about students get employment or back into further education within 6 months of graduating. And for mechanical engineering, we're 100%, okay? Across university, we're in the 90s, or across the college, I say we're in the 90s. And as you can see, our salaries are comparable with our nearest competitors. Very quickly, I mean, you're probably aware of this, but what is the academic route? There's 2 entry levels, effectively. There's foundation, which is we call year 0, okay? Foundation is predominantly meant for students who haven't studied the right A levels, though also some students who haven't quite achieved the grade for direct entry as well can go into the foundation year, right? And then you've got for year 1 is the most standard entry point for mechanical and the other engineering disciplines. And then you progress on to year 2, and then you have the opportunity to transfer then from you're in industry, MEng, or back and forth, whichever way you want to go. If you're on the MEng program and you decide you want to finish in a year, you can then drop down to the BEng program. And if you're on the BEng program, you're doing particularly well, you can transfer to the MEng program. Yeah. Or that's your year, we might do you in industry. And then obviously you've got year 3 for the BEng programs, and then you graduate, and you've got year 3 and level M, or level year 3M and level M for graduating from the MEng program. There's also some options, okay? We do have some option routes, or I should say degree pathways, where you can pick some options later on in the program. So you can specialize to a certain extent in one of those 4 disciplines there, be it digital manufacturing, robotics, generation or power generation, and the new Industry 4, which is the way that manufacturing is moving into the future via the Internet of Things, etc. We also have a commitment to excellence. You'll have to excuse that photograph on the right. That's our previous head of department. I'm sure our new head of department won't penalise me too much on that. But our undergraduate schemes, correct me if the numbers are wrong, Adam, please, but we've got 200 award scholarships. We've got an excellent scholarship for students achieving 3 grade A levels, A level, or equivalent. Don't worry if you're doing a different program, if you're doing a baccalaureate or something, there's equivalence for every qualification.
Yeah, I'll add there, Mike, as well. We've also got international excellence scholarships. So for international students, they can be awarded up to £6,000 for undergraduate studies as well.
Oh, thank you, Adam. I didn't know that, to be honest. And we've got our merit scholarships for students achieving AAB grade. So you should, consider applying for one of these. Bear in mind, though, you can't just get your £3,000 excellence scholarship on the 1st of October and then leave the university. You've got to consider the fact that you get the £1,500 in the first year and £1,500 in the second year. And similarly for the merit scholarship, 1,000. Intersocial interaction. One thing which we take very seriously is our links with industry. Okay. As I spoke to you earlier, a lot of our mechanical portfolio academic staff have industry experience. Yeah. One thing we do, we try to tailor our courses to make sure that graduates are prepared for industry when they graduate. Yeah. So we have meetings with industry all the time. We have what we call industrial liaison committees who meet with the big wigs of industry, lots of big companies, Rolls-Royce, Tata Steel, BA Systems, etc. You name it. And then we discuss what they expect from their graduates as they're being taught, yeah, and what they expect when they graduate, how we can tailor them to be suitable for the industries they're going to go into, yeah. They also provide things like visiting speakers. They do case studies and projects with industry. We do summer placement opportunities. We can get direct funding from some industries for research projects, and obviously there's some collaborative use for equipment and resources. Yeah. I'll give you one example. I presume a lot of you have done a lot of 3D CAD in your school or college studies. We used to teach Inventor as our 3D CAD, or we used to use Inventor as our 3D CAD program for the design programs. We spoke with industries a few years ago, and they asked us if we could shift to SolidWorks, because that's become the industry standard. So we cleared out all our Inventor suite and refilled it all with SolidWorks. That's how seriously we take at great expense, are links with industry. And of course, that links into our employability support. As I said previously, we've got a very high graduate employment rate, yeah, and we've got a dedicated college employability team who organise and support the range of activities as listed there, yeah. If you're on you're in industry program, you can attend additional lectures on a Wednesday afternoon normally, where you can give guidance on how to write CVs, etc., interview practice, and how to present yourself at interviews, how to look for careers and look for jobs. So, so our employability activities are very, very important to us because we want our students to be very successful. As a matter of interest, there's a career opportunities for mechanical engineers. These are some of the industry areas or the work areas we've placed students over many, many years, and this is only a very small snapshot of the places that we have placed students. So a lot of those things there you recognise as being probably very relevant to mechanical engineers. For automotive, for example, rail, energy. A lot of them you probably think, I would never have thought a mechanical engineer would be going into that kind of career, i.e., for example, sports, marketing, health and safety. So you can see the wide range of career opportunities for mechanical engineering graduates. This is an example of a graduate who graduated, actually this is 2 years ago, but it's a couple of good examples. One student going to Triumph, for example, earning £27,000 a year starting with a £2,000 joining bonus. Now that's not bad for a 21-year-old going into industry. This is a new scheme that's been presented by Swansea University. It's our podcast. I've not seen it myself, to be honest. That's why I said come in soon. I presume it's up and running. Adam can clarify that at this moment, but certainly it'll be up and running very, very shortly if it's not already, and where you'll be able to obviously listen to lots of activities and articles relating to engineering at Swansea University. So with a couple of final thoughts, bear in mind that mechanical engineering is a rewarding and challenging degree. It is challenging. When you speak to Rhiannon later or she'll answer some of your questions, I'm sure she'll tell you that. But bear in mind, it is a profession and not just a job. And it'd be well worth you progressing a career in mechanical engineering. So finally, I hope I've been of some use and of some help to you on your thoughts on joining Swansea. Thank you for listening. And as Adam said, we will answer any questions now. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks, Mike.
Pleasure. Okay.
Move your screen then.
I will now. Oh, I lost it. There you go. It's gone.
No, you need to stop sharing.
I tried. Oh, I got it. Yeah. Thank you.
Perfect. Right. As we said, we're welcome to take any questions now. So in that Q&A display button on your screen, you can type in any questions that you've got for us. I'll start with asking Rhiannon. A couple of questions for you then, Rhiannon. Mike said that, it is intense, as engineering degrees should be. Thinking back to your first year, in terms of how you were taught, how you learned, how you were assessed, how did it differ compared to school?
If I'm perfectly honest, I'd say that, in terms of contact hours and stuff, am I still there? Yeah. In terms of contact hours and stuff, it's really similar to sixth form. So you'll have a couple of hours in the morning, perhaps then a couple of hours in the afternoon, and you've got that time in between to choose how you use that time, whether you go to the library with friends or if you live on campus, you can just go back for a few hours. But don't be put off by, I know the timetable was on the screen and Dr. Clee said there's a lot of contact hours in comparison to other degrees, but don't let that scare you or anything, because it is really just similar to sixth form, and it's all just about managing your time. You will get plenty of time to work and have free time to yourself as well. So don't think that it's all work, no play, because it doesn't have to be.
And in terms of the content, so I know that a big concern for a lot of the incoming students sometimes is the type of maths or the type of physics. How does that relate to what you did in school, in year one especially?
So first year there's 2 maths modules which are more or less exactly what you would have done at A-level maths. So if you've not done A-level maths, then you probably will have to do the foundation year because it's probably a little bit too much to catch up on. But if you have done A-level maths, then you'll be perfectly fine. As for the physics stuff, I didn't actually do physics myself at A-level, and I didn't need to do the foundation year because the university are really good at like teaching you everything from scratch. So as long as you have got some basic understanding of like physics and maths, obviously maths with the A-level, but physics, I would say it's just making sure you are aware and maybe sometimes having to put a little bit extra work in, but they are really good at teaching you everything from scratch. So if you've done like GCSE sciences and you've got your A-level maths, I think everything else you should be fine with.
I think that's the key thing. You know, we've got people from different backgrounds, different levels of maths and sciences, different countries and school systems. And so we factor that into our teaching. And Mike, you know, was talking about, you know, how we put a focus on teaching and delivery. And that's to pull everyone in year one, especially up to the required levels to kick on.
Yeah, should I add that, you know, year one is really a kind of, as you say, a leveling year, Adam, to get students up to the same kind of standard, ready for the... What I forgot to mention was the year one is just progression, and the following years are what count towards your final award. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the first year is really to get everybody to the same standard, so they can actually get on with it.
And of course, we got another layer to that, where we've got a foundation year. So again, if students haven't studied the right subjects or to the right level, or haven't got the required grades, we've got the foundation year, which then will progress on to year one, and then on to year 2, year 3, year 4, as we said as well. So there's lots of flexible options really to suit the level of background and education that students have got coming to us. But you know, year one is the level, like Mike said, and Rhiannon's got that experience of being taught from a fundamental level. Basically, there is crosses over with what you would have studied in school and college, maybe as well.
Yeah.
Common question, we got one that's been asked now. How much of a focus is there on the practical side of engineering? So how many are labs and how many are workshops?
Would you like me to answer that?
Yeah, go on, Mike.
It's a very good question, actually. The one thing I would mention is that, and I've been at the university for 17 years now. Seems like a long time. But when I started, there was the practical aspect of the teaching was a little bit limited, in my opinion. That's only my personal opinion. And we've introduced a lot more practical work now over those years. Now, I think I've been part of the vehicle in that personally. And I think Rhiannon will confirm that, you know, there's quite a high element of practical work now. I mean, for example, in the first year, you'll do some design work where you will actually design and build something. Yep. And you'll do some workshop activities. You'll do some experimental work. And that will continue into the second year and the third year of the program. So it's getting more and more. So there's a good element of practical work, because I believe that gives you a much better understanding of the theory. It's the old adage, I suppose, a picture paints 1,000 words kind of thing. So you can rest assured that there's adequate amount of hands-on activity as well as the theory. And this is both in labs, you know, hands-on labs where you do, physical experiments, and also in the computer labs that you will do. You know, that's still, you know, it's got a practical element to it, really. Yeah. Would you agree with that, Rhiannon?
Yeah, I would say that like the theory side that you study in lectures and then the practical stuff that we get to do in the labs, like they do come hand in hand, and you can see a lot of the time why you're learning the content, because then you're able to apply it yourself. So it's quite like rewarding to get to implement something that you've been taught yourself. Also, I would say is that, like you said, there's a good balance between like PC labs where you might have to work in groups and like get to design something, but then you'll also get to go into the mechanical workshops, the 3D printing labs and experimental labs and everything, and get to actually see what you've designed on paper on the PC is actually in like the model form that you've actually made yourself, and then you can sort of feel proud that you've had the chance to do that.
You touch on design there. So again, something that is obviously really important, we cover a lot of, is computer-aided design, but then a lot of incoming students wouldn't have experience or have varying levels of experience in computer-aided design. So what would you advise to those students, and how do we deliver that?
So in first year, I hadn't done any sort of computer design at all, maybe some very basic stuff back in school in like design technology, but we use the software SolidWorks, which they teach you like from the basics. So in first year, you'll have a module which is like the introduction to the design module. You'll just get to grips with the software, how you can sort of start to build little things, do some engineering drawings and things, and then that progresses then to third year that I'm currently in now, where we actually just designed and built our own remote control cars, which we got to build in groups of 6, and then we got to race them at the end of the term. So that was like really interesting to see how far we'd come from having not even used the software at all when we first started uni like 3 years ago, to actually get to design a fully functioning car and then see it in action.
Good. And James has asked the question of, do students get access to a SolidWorks license, and how would that work?
And yeah, so the uni just gives you like a link and you can just download it for free, and as long as you're a student at the uni, you've got access to everything. So yeah. And
a common question that James has asked is, what type of computer do you recommend? Now, I know this is a contentious answer based on who you ask, because I got colleagues who much prefer MacBooks and others that prefer Windows, for example. So what do you use, Rhiannon?
I would say don't get a Mac, because you can't get SolidWorks on a Mac.
Yeah. Would you agree with that, Mike?
Well, I will add to that. Actually, certainly now with I mean, I've got 2 MacBooks and a PC. You can, even on the old MacBooks, you can partition your drive and run Windows. So you can actually put all the engineering software that's available. You can actually run on a Mac. Not under the Mac operating system.
Yeah, functionality though, because you know, I've gone from using Windows in the last couple of weeks because it broke. I've moved to MacBook, and it's just this huge brick, and I hate it, and it's doing my head in. So it depends on what people use. You know,
yeah, it's what you're used to, I guess.
Sorry, all I'm saying is that, you know, predominantly a Windows PC or laptop would be the most sensible option. For those of you who particularly favour Macs, you can actually emulate Windows, or you can actually install Windows on a Mac and install most of the software. Yeah. And the thing I will add is that Rhiannon hasn't, I didn't think she mentioned, was, you know, you can download the software that we use, you know, MATLAB, SolidWorks, even ANSYS, and you can actually run it on your laptop even remotely by using the VPN. So you've got full access to software 24/7. Yeah.
Great. There's a question about contact hours and what it's made up of. So as Mike said, you know, you can have up to 30 hours. Typically, it'll be 20 to 23, 24 hours. But what are they made up of? So is it all lectures, or are there smaller classes? And what other individual stuff do students have?
It depends on the subject. I mean, for example, and bear in mind that most of the course is centered around design. And the design modules will typically consist of, in a particular week, an hour or 2 lectures, usually an hour, followed by a 2 or 3 hour lab session. Yeah. But then the more kind of theoretical subjects that you need to make that design sort of successful. For example, if you design an engine for a motor vehicle, you know, you couldn't design an efficient engine if you didn't understand about thermodynamics. Yeah. So those kind of subjects are typically a more lecture orientated, even though you will do a couple of thermodynamics experiments. So it does vary from typically 3 hours per subject or per module, and typically it'll vary from 3 hours of lectures to an hour lecture and a couple of hours of lab. Yeah, but I would say that probably a 50-50 split overall. Would you agree with that, Rhiannon? I mean, you've gone through.
Yeah, I would say so. Like you said, you have to have studied the theoretical sides to be able to use it in the practical side.
Exactly.
Sometimes with like thermodynamics, fluid mechanics, for example, we'll study the content, and then towards the end of the semester, we'll actually go into like the experimental labs and get to do an experiment where you'll study like fluid flow, or in mechanical labs where we'll get to like tensile test different materials and things, and then you can understand why certain materials act the way they do based on the content that we've been learning all semester.
Exactly. You better understand the theory, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And with those theory lessons as well, I'll add in that, you know, for some of them, it's going to be just mechanical engineering students. So let's say there's 200 in a class, but there'll be others, like thermodynamics sits across multiple engineering subjects. So you could be combined with aerospace engineering, and there'll be 350 of you in a class. Then for others, and especially as you move through the years, classes will get smaller, and you'll have seminars with 20 to 30 people. Your labs and your workshops will be smaller again. Your computer lab classes will be a different size again, as we split into groups. So it does vary, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, yeah.
Cool. And then similar to that then, someone has asked, is there any option for one-to-one support, and what other support is available then? So Rhiannon, if you talk about your experiences first of all.
Okay, so every single lecturer who you will have in your first year will have like an email address that you can contact them directly. But sometimes, because they don't want to be bombarded with emails, particularly if it's the same questions asked by multiple people, they'll hold an office hour once or twice a week, where for that hour, say on a Thursday afternoon for 1 hour, you'll be able to go to their office, their door will be open, and their time is completely dedicated to any questions that you may have. So you could go with a group of friends if you've all got the same question, or if it's something a bit more you're personally struggling, you could just go and talk to them one-on-one. And obviously then if it is really busy and you need to go back another time, you can arrange that with them then separately.
Good. And then in terms of academic stuff as well, I know Mike, you love your mathematics. Can you tell us a little bit about the maths and the CAD support cafes that are available?
Where do you get the idea I love my mathematics? Yeah, there's we have what we call a maths cafe and a CAD cafe. So these run a few afternoons during the week, and this is where you get members of staff who will be able to, academic staff, as well as actually some postgraduate students, because they've done a lot of work, in these areas, and they can relate to students sometimes a little bit easier, and they can help you with any kind of issues you have relating to the CAD or the maths that's associated with your modules or your design work, etc. And they're open to anybody. You don't have to book appointments or anything. You just turn up and say, could you help me with this, please? And they'll be there and very willing to do that. Yeah, and very, 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 very helpful indeed. Yeah.
And we got a question from Ryan.
Sorry, Adam. If there's anything they perhaps can't help you with, they direct you in the line to the right person. You can then go and see. Who might be a bit more of an expert in that particular aspect of that maths or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
Good. And Ryan has asked specifically, how does the maths in first year compare to the maths that's delivered A level? So what are the sort of crossover topics, for example, and what areas of mathematics do we use most commonly in mechanical engineering?
Well, maybe Rhiannon might be best to answer that one, yeah.
I was just going to say, if you have specifically done A level maths, I know that some students might have done different courses, but particularly the first maths module that you'll study in your first semester, which is called Analysis 1, it is more or less a piece of A-level maths, so like differentiation, integration, all that sort of thing, perhaps with like a tiny little bit added on. It's more or less just refreshing your memory so that then in the following semester you can basically add to the knowledge that you've already learned. So then you'll do stuff like 3D integration. So it's stuff that you've already been taught. It's just slightly more difficult, which you can then use when it comes to like fluid mechanics and thermodynamics and those sort of modules, where it's the more practical side of maths, where you're actually using the calculations to work something out that's like more practical than to engineering. You can sort of see the link between the two, if that makes sense.
If I can put your mind at rest to a certain extent as well, a lot of students they get kind of frightened by complex differentiation and integration type equations. But if it's any reassurance for you, as you progress to these areas, you'll look at these really kind of drawn out integrals and think, oh, I can't solve that, but it'll be already been solved for you because it'll be of a particular type. So the solution is of this type. Yeah, would you agree with that, Rhiannon? You must have come up with that.
Yeah,
thermo,
it just
fluids,
comes more naturally over time.
I remember doing things like quantum mechanics and thinking you're never going to solve those things, but it's already there, available to you. It's not you don't have to. It's not, you're not deriving mathematical theorems. You're using mathematical tools effectively. Yeah.
Great. There's a question about chartership and accreditation, Mike.
Yeah.
Someone wants to know, with a B.Eng in mechanical engineering, could you go on and do other MSc programs and move into other fields of engineering?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. And similarly, we have students, I've also admission tutor for the master's programs. We have students who come and join us in MSCs in mechanical who've done other subjects completely, be aerospace, even marine engineering in some cases. It depends on the content of what you study. But as I said, our mechanical engineering program is such a broad program for mechanical engineering. It gives you wide scope into do MSCs in a whole range of different engineering subjects. You know?
I like what you said.
And in some ways, I would recommend that to students, because then they don't, you know, they when you step into an MSc level, you become a little bit more specialised. Yeah.
Well, I like what you said about our modules. You know, rather than doing 9 15 credit modules, we will do 12 10.
Yeah.
Rather than doing, you know, bigger modules and very small concentrated areas, we do a little bit of everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sample lots of different things, which makes it such a good general degree, as Mike says, to go off into other fields of engineering. You go into all sorts of sectors and roles because you learn a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I mean, those career options I showed you, I mean, they predominantly related to, you know, to the working environment, you know, that snapshot of careers that students have gone into. But in reality, that also relates to postgraduate education as well. You know, there's a lot of those disciplines like sports science, for example. You know, there's postgraduate programs in sports science, there's postgraduate programs in manufacturing, you know, which mechanical engineering students can go into. Yeah.
Rhiannon, have you chosen what you want to specialise in and focus on in your final year a little bit more?
So, like, obviously I'm in my third year now, which is essentially final year for BEng students, and I'm currently doing my research project at the moment, which is a heavily design-based project. But then next year I'm continuing on with the MEng, so it's not as specialised as the MSc because you're just continuing on with the current degree now. So I'm pretty sure it's the same sort of structure, whereas obviously the MSc you could specialise in a specific type of mechanical. But because I just really enjoy studying the range of different modules that they have on offer, I've just chosen to continue on with that because
you have some options in the MEng year, though.
Yeah, I still don't really know what field I want to go into once I've graduated, because I'm just still enjoying learning about them all. So
yeah, I think that's what Adam was relating to, is if you decide, like, you know, do robotics or whatever, that, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, we've been given the opportunity to specialise in whatever we want to because we've been able to study such a broad range of modules over the past 3 years.
Good.
There's a couple of questions relating to placement and years in industry. So I can explain that in terms of the process. So if students come in now haven't pre-selected they're going to do mechanical engineering with a year in industry, or with a year abroad for that matter, it's no issue at all. Students can actually add it on whilst they are a student in Swansea. So during the first year, the beginning of second year, if you decide you want to do that placement or year abroad, we can add it on, no problem. Similarly, if someone has chosen that option already and they don't want to do it, we can remove it easily enough as well.
Yeah, there's plenty of scope, but I should, you know, obviously, and there are some criteria you have to fill to stay on the MEng programme, for example. But as I should have highlighted earlier, you know, if you're on the MEng programme and come to the end of your third year and you decide you've had enough, you can still graduate with a BEng. You know, so there's so much flexibility in the programme that you don't as a student, you don't need to worry and get yourself too bogged down in, you know, what exact program I'm going to do. You can sort that out on the day you arrive if you really wanted to, in principle.
Yeah, I didn't transfer onto the MEng until the end of my second year.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's what, you know, is most common for a lot of our MEng students: enter on a BEng and transfer across. And we actually promote and push that to the students. You know, we will tell you when the option is available and what you need to do. Similarly with the year in industry and the year abroad, there's loads of support and preparation to get you ready to secure these placements. So Catherine could talk very shortly about the year abroad, but for the year in industry, we've got a dedicated careers team within engineering, and within mechanical engineering specifically as well. One of our members of faculty is an employability champion just for mechanical engineering. And so they help to push and promote the placements, help you with all of the applications, help you with interview practice. That's not general, you know, what's good in interviews. Anyone can do that. What our staff are able to do is to replicate what the interview will be like at GE Aviation if you go in for an interview to be a design engineer, for example. So we can really make it specific to engineers to help secure that placement then. And then Catherine heads up our year abroad scheme. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that's just as open as Adam and the team were saying about year in industry and switching on to the MN. So students can switch on to the year in industry programme up until the first term of their second year. So the year abroad is in between your second and your third year. And I mean, for this year, I think we've had students in Australia, in America, in Singapore. I think we've got a couple of partnerships around Europe. So it's a great opportunity for you to go abroad, get a taster of a different university or a different country's kind of teaching methods. You'll also have a bit more freedom in terms of students only have to take 80% of what they take in Swansea in a new country. So it gives you a bit of time to explore, and you can take some different subjects and things. And yeah, so there's lots of exciting opportunities, and we've got a huge team here that's here to, you know, support you with applications and where you can go, and there's just so many options there.
Good. And you know, it's ultimately it's developing students, and it's on CV in black and white, similarly to the year in industry. So again, we often get asked where the students tend to go on placements. As Mike's alluded to, you know, within mechanical engineering, we've had students that have gone into lots of different sectors from mechanical engineering, and even picking up what you may consider to be non-mechanical engineering roles as part of placement. So I'm thinking of examples who have gone and they've been doing predominantly electronic and electrical engineering roles on their placement year, even though from a mechanical engineering background. But it's really good to become more well-rounded. So again, you find yourself as a mechanical engineer being sat next to an aerospace engineer and being taught by someone who's under the electronic and electrical engineering portfolio, because ultimately they're just degree titles. We're pretty seamless, as Mike said, across our disciplines, and that's key in engineering. It's reflective of industry. You're going to need to mix in and work well and have an understanding of other engineering areas. So we have that incorporated within our degree scheme.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got time for a couple more questions. There's one here regarding admissions and the current situation with A-levels. So obviously, we're experiencing it ourselves. You know, Rhiannon is finishing up her third year studies from home. Mike is now delivering and teaching online rather than in person. And we're having to change the way in which we're awarding, assessing work and awarding grades, just as all of you have had disruption in your schools and colleges and institutions as well. We're really, really understanding and are very well aware of that. And so when it comes to admissions and any offers that you've been made, you know, we will take all of these factors into account. So we'll be reactive to what's happening with your qualifications and how they are being assessed and submitted to us. So, you know, on any given year, we're fair and flexible and understanding anyway. And certainly this year, where there's extreme mitigating circumstances, we're going to be even more understanding and fair and flexible for those of you that have had disruption to what grades you might have expected, or if you are underneath what you've been offered. You know, just trust the process, and you know, we will be fair to you. We'll be communicating throughout, so we will be transparent. We'll be staying in touch with you at key points and updating you on and if there's any actions that you need to do as well. If you do want to contact us at any time about that as well, I'm going to put my contact details up on the screen, and there you can send any concerns or questions or queries to me. So you can see my email address and my WhatsApp number there. So you're just going to contact me at any time you like, and I'll be able to answer any concerns and questions you've got, in particular about admissions. Okay. I haven't seen any more questions come in, so.
Well, Rhiannon, can I? Sorry to interrupt you, Rhiannon. I don't want to put you on the spot. Would you like to kind of give a little insight to what it's like being a student in Swansea outside the academic side?
What do you want me to say?
Well, you know, it's like living in a student in Swansea.
Yeah. So on first year, I lived on the Bay campus in the fairly new accommodation. I think we were only the second or third lot of people to live there. So still now, it's only a couple of years old, and it's really, really nice. I highly would recommend it. Obviously, the Bay campus is literally situated on the beach itself. Like, no exaggeration, it literally is on the beach. You can literally get to the sea in a minute. So that's just really nice. Like in the summer, myself and my flatmates from first year, we'd constantly go down to the beach just for like a picnic or a barbecue or to watch the sunset. Like, it's a really nice way to escape, especially if you're a bit stressed, because it's so nice. But then at the same time, you're just a 5-10 minute drive away from the city centre, which is completely different again. You've got Wine Street, where you have all the restaurants and the bars and the nightclubs and things, so there's a lot of nightlife there. But Swansea is quite a small city, so it's not too intimidating if you don't come from a city background. Like I myself, I'm not from a city at all, so it wasn't too much of a contrast from home. But then, like I said, you've got the beach, you've got the marina. If you continue on past the city centre, you have like the Gower and the Mumbles, and they're just really nice places if your family come to visit. So it's a nice contrast. Like, there's plenty to do if you do enjoy eating out and drinking and just going a bit mad, because obviously like uni students like to experience that side of things, but you can also do a lot more that is a bit more relaxed and just like making the most of like the outdoors. And if we do have nice weather, then all the better.
And then have you found that dynamic has changed from year 1 to your year 3? Are you like, do you have
I don't go out quite as much, particularly now as I'm stuck indoors. But yeah, like first year, everyone just wants to go out as much as possible, but you've got to be realistic, particularly with engineering, because it is like intense, as Dr. Fleet said. So you have to be, sometimes you might have to say no to a night out if your other friends who maybe aren't doing engineering can go out every single night of the week. You have to be realistic if you want to pass your first year, but then as it goes on, you learn to manage your time better, and going out every night maybe isn't such a big deal anymore, but you still make time to just go out for some food with friends or for a walk down the beach or the Mumbles and things.
We got a question from Charles. How easy is it to get between the two campuses? And to add on to that, Rhiannon, how do you get around Swansea?
So I get the bus everywhere. I do have friends who've got cars and they choose to drive to uni, but I just wouldn't recommend it because the car park is just really busy, and it's not for students anyway, it's for staff. So sometimes you might not get the opportunity to park there unless you do have like a permit or something, which I think are available to some students. But 100% would just recommend getting the bus, or cycling as well is a really popular choice. There's 3 different bus routes that go between campus, taking like different routes around the city depending on where you go. So one goes through the city centre, one goes along the seafront, and another one goes up behind the city towards like some of the other student areas. So if you don't live on campus, again, there's no issue getting to and from the campuses or from like the city centre or wherever you live, because the buses are really regular. I think they're like every 10 minutes. There's almost always a bus at the bus stop, like during the day. So, and they're 24 hours as well.
Yeah.
How long does that ride to town take?
So I say like 5 or 10 minutes from the Bay campus to the city centre, and then another 5 or 10 minutes on then to Singleton. But it's really nothing at all. Like, it's not a big deal.
I think people who've never been to Swansea can't quite fathom how small it is.
Yeah, it really is.
Easy to get around, especially those from bigger cities. You know, you can, you know, if you've got an hour, you can walk, you know, from...
Yeah, you definitely could.
Town, but...
Actually, Singleton, I would say Singleton is easily walking distance from town, but obviously Bay Campus is that little bit further. But like you said, if you've got an hour or so, then it's easily done.
Yeah.
And then we've got a question from Jack, but I can help you with this if you need, Rhiannon, is what is the ratio of male and female studying in mechanical engineering?
I've got about 3 friends on my course that are girls, but I'd say it's about 10 to 15% girls, maybe.
And I think in engineering in total, we are about 22% female, which is above average, but obviously still a lot of work to be done to be more inclusive and to promote.
There seems to be more girls in like medical and civil engineering than like mechanical and aerospace. We seem to be the lower end of.
And how have you found making friends?
I'll talk to anyone. So I was really lucky that my first year flat, we all got on really well. Like, there was 10 of us in a flat. 6 of us did engineering, the other 4 didn't. And most of us still live together now. Obviously, circumstances, we're all at home, but we've all stuck together. Like on my course, I've made loads of different friends just from being put into groups together with different people. So like one thing I would say is you do get put into a lot of different groups throughout the year, and a lot of those are just sort of randomly allocated.
Well, I disagree with being randomly allocated.
Yeah, it gives you the opportunity to meet new people. Like some of my closest friends now have been made through having been put into a group together and having never met each other before that. So it's definitely a good way to make friends.
And if I can add, there's a plethora of clubs and societies in the university.
Yeah, definitely.
Which you'll be introduced to at Freshers Week anyway. And, it gives you plenty of opportunity then to mix with a, wide variety of students from different backgrounds, different cultures, different interests, and make lots of friends. And it's been such a, relatively small city, as you say, with the two campuses. And the accommodation is fairly well centred, really, isn't it?
There's plenty of student
accommodation on the bay, you've got the accommodation at Singleton. Most of the
and in the
students
city centre.
about Uplands and Bryn Mill. So it's all very integrated. So making friends, shouldn't really be a big issue.
Yeah, and you mentioned your friends with the people you lived with in year one. Someone's asked what's the best type of accommodation for first year. Now, there is no right answer because it's all about preference and certain people. So you lived on Bay campus.
Yeah, I chose to live on Bay campus just because the accommodation was really nice. It's a bit more expensive than perhaps living off campus, but then again, compared to other universities, it's actually really, really affordable. And also it's just the convenience of being on campus and living with people who are all in the same boat as you. Like everyone's new to the university, so it's
again,
to get to know people.
People who haven't seen it probably can't fathom just how close accommodation is to our academic buildings as well.
Yeah, it's like a stone's throw away.
Literally, it's a couple of minutes walk from the accommodation to your lecture theatres. So that's obviously the most recommended option. But again, there are people with different requirements and needs and preferences. So there's options for that, like living on the other campus, which is called Singleton, or living in family accommodations. There's Beck House. And then we've got external to the university, as Mike said then, there's private rented accommodation. And there's lots of different student neighbourhoods or residential neighbourhoods. They've got different vibes and dynamics and prices and quality that you can look at as well then. So, everything is pretty much available. Okay, and that was our final question. So we'll finish up then by saying thanks very much to you guys. So cheers, Rhiannon.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Catherine.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Thanks, Mike.
Welcome, of course.
All right, and everyone keep your eye out because we will be communicating, not in an annoying scale, but we will be updating you on how the situation in terms of studies and, the lockdowns and admissions is going to be developing. And also then essential information ahead of you joining, key dates for accommodation, for example, or what you need to be bringing and what you need to be preparing before entering in September. All right. Thanks, everyone. And you're welcome to contact us at any time. You've got all of our contact details in the communication you've had in advance of this webinar. Okay. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, Adam.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.